Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Nymphomaniac Part 1. I reviewed the second one first, and now I'm reviewing the first volume. Sorry, I had forgotten to hook up my microphone there. Hopefully that sounds better. Um, First, I want to correct my last video. Actually, there is peeing and fisting in part 2. And also, um, part 1 gets a higher rating than part 2. I had misspoken and said that part 2 got a higher rating. But this one gets a 7 on IMDb, which is higher than part 2. Neither part 1 nor part 2 has any transsexuals in it. So there are a lot of things missing from an alleged nymphomaniac. She is bisexual, but she doesn't hook up with any transsexuals, which is rather surprising since it's a relatively new movie, and it goes on for 4 hours of mostly hardcore porn type stuff. I guess now in 2013 even transsexualism was taboo subject, especially for females. Anyways, I love this flick. It didn't disappoint, and Uma Thurman's emotional breakdown has to be the highlight of the movie. I'll post the trailer in the description box where you can see for yourself. She's got a great line where she says, "May the children see the horror bed." That has to be one of the all-time greatest acting scenes in any movie. I'm becoming a big fan of hers as she gets older. She was pretty good in Kill Bill and also The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. But this has to be the highlight of her career, easily. Just the one, just the 10-minute scene with her pacing around and getting all red-faced and teary-eyed to the point where she starts screaming like a crazy bitch. That has to be. I just had to laugh at that. It was just epic, classic, whatever you want to call it, etched in my brain for many, many years. So that was a highlight. I pretty much described the beginning of the movie in my last video. It starts out with her. It starts out at the ending after she's like brutalized. Not the ending of the story of her life story, but the ending of the movie, let's say. Not the ending, but right before the ending. It's the ending of the part where she's talking to this social hermit guy who reads a lot and he thinks he knows everything. He compares sex to fly fishing, which is kind of an interesting analogy. I don't think I can relate to that, but I'm not completely a social hermit. I mean, I have been ever since I stopped dating June Leon, pretty much. The Chinese gal has been in China for most of the year. Now she's traveling in the United States. I won't see her until next month. So it's kind of been like that for me, just watching Netflix. during the past year or so. But um, I don't know. I get to see my son, so I'm not a total recluse. So this guy's kind of interesting. He's got all these Fibonacci stuff and Mo- Mozart, I guess, or Bach, or one of those guys. He's like, I guess it was Bach, because if you convert his name into numbers, it turns it into a Fibonacci, not a sequence, but a bunch of Fibonacci numbers. He's got was it 14 different tones to make a harmony. I forget what he calls it, but kind of interesting stuff. You know, using mathematics and nature and religion to make music back in the Enlightenment period. Stuff that I wasn't privy to until now. Same with part two when he talks about the uh, the schism between the Eastern Church and the Western Church. That was kind of interesting. And for a non-believer, he seems to know a lot about religion and Judaism. He even goes so far as to say he's anti-Zionist, but not anti-Semitic, which is kind of interesting in light of the director's drunken comment that he was a Nazi and he understood Hitler. He must have been drunk. I can't understand why he would say something like that, unless he was fucked up on drugs or he was trying to imitate 70s John Waters movie, like I said in my previous video. But basically, it goes into her childhood period where she's like swimming. She floods the bathroom and she swims with her friend on the floor. Like I couldn't quite understand how that fits in with Nymphomania. But she does describe an incident at school where she was like rubbing her cunt, as she calls it, up against the climbing rope there. Oh, they just happen to have it there. There are a lot of coincidences in this, uh, in both parts, that kind of flabbergast the social hermit guy, and it kind of flabbergasted me too. In part two, there were just too many weird coincidences in this one. Like they were in the park and Jerome just happened to be there, or she applied for a job and Jerome just happened to be there, or um, she goes on a debt collector trip in part two, and Jerome's house just happened to be there. There are too many coincidences with Jerome, which kind of made this movie even more campy, I guess. And even the social hermit alludes to it a little bit in this one. But I think the Uma Thurman scene had to, the 10 minutes or so had to be the climax, or the highlight of both part one and part two. So she loses her virginity to this Jerome guy. She happens to admire him because he's the only cool kid on the block with a moped or something. So he's wearing this white beater, and she just kind of nonchalantly tells her that she wants to lose her virginity to him. She opens up his shack thing with all his mechanical parts and stuff. And and then he gives her anal sex like 5 times after giving her vaginal sex 3 times. It's got the 3+5 thing that it had in this part two, when her lesbian partner got the same kind of thing, um, or her bisexual partner, whatever. It's all very confusing. so, so she's walking bow-legged up the stairs after getting her booty raped by this guy, Jerome. Then she, later on after high school, I guess she, or maybe it's around the same time. I don't know. It's very confusing. She, I guess she was 15 when she got raped, so it would have been after high school when she sees him again. She's got no skills, or after dropping out from medical school, I guess. Her dad is Christian Slater, who happens to be a doctor, and her mom is a total bitch, according to her. She loves to play solitaire, which is annoying to her. Um, so they meet again. Her dad's a big fan of trees, so she likes to go walking around the trees and stuff. Um, Pretty cool. And then Jerome's just like he's got some kind of oh, what do you call it when a family member helps you out to get a job? like the previous place where I worked for a couple years. um, Jerome's uncle is sicker or something, so he gets Jerome's uncle's job. He just pretty much sits around. He decides to hire the girl because he recognizes her as like a secretary or administrative assistant, I guess they're called nowadays. Uh, so he's on her first day. He's trying to hit on her for some reason, inexplicable reason. She's playing hard to get, kind of thing. So she ends up marrying the other secretary, who didn't think that she'd ever get the job in the first place. Oh, I forgot to mention the scene where she's kind of like a kid before after she bones after she gets boned by Jerome. She plays this game on a train to see how many guys she can have sex with. Um, she's like competing with her friend how many guys she can have sex with on the train, and the prize is like a bag of candy treats or some shit. So she's losing badly. She's behind by like 4. So they go into the first class cab or whatever it's called, and they try to get this married guy, but he refuses the blondie friend. So she just goes in there and pulls down his pants, starts giving him fellatio. Um, and then he like shoots cum in her mouth. I could never do that. Blowjobs don't do that for me. In fact, they don't do anything for me. I don't know why. Maybe it's some kind of disorder. I have no idea. But seemingly only happens in movies. I don't know. It's a strange thing I have, but anyways, enough about my sexual preferences and foibles. Uh, so fast forwarding back to where she had this secretary job. The uncle gets better. She loses her job, but then I guess she finds another. I don't know. Maybe it's one of the deleted scenes that I missed. Um, then she just starts going batshit crazy after Jerome marries the blonde secretary. She's got like 10 guys a night. Um, she's got this married guy, Thurman's husband. He decides he's going to move out to shack up with her. Um, then Thurman comes with the kids, and that's when the great scene unfolds where she's there with the three kids, the three boys, and the estranged husband is just standing there, kind of mystified by all this. and, and then her next boyfriend shows up. Uh, so there's this very uncomfortable scene with Uma Thurman just going completely batshit crazy in front of the kids. I don't think that was such a good thing to expose them to that, but hey, this is after all a Nymphomaniac movie, so they had to put something like that in there. Uh, it was just completely crazy. Um, the highlight of the film, like I said. So, just coincidentally, Jerome has an argument with her with his wife in the park. She finds the torn up pictures, and then that's how uh, that's how she's able to reunite or reconcile with Jerome. That's pretty much the end of the first movie. I didn't really spoil the ending, um, since she says something at the end that's kind of strange, doesn't make sense. But then again, this entire movie doesn't make sense, which is why I loved it so much. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of those so bad that it's good type movies. There's one part of it where they just show uh, a series of penises, different sizes, and cut, uncut. That was kind of interesting. Um, Not that I'm a big fan of penises, but I never really seen that before, where they had like a collage of one penis after another in each frame. Not sure what that was for or how it related to the story. I guess she was just having a stream of consciousness moment, as it were. Um, and then there's a scene of penetration where Jerome's diggling is kind of bouncing up and down on her. It's just like hardcore porn. Uh, you don't really see that in part two, though, so that was kind of notable. Um, that was the ending part where she just mumbles something incomprehensible. I guess you can see it in the trailer. It's probably in there. I don't know. A lot of the stuff is off camera, like they show the heads and the sheet covers and stuff. So it's not a total hardcore porn. I mean, there's a lot of artsy kind of stuff in between and off camera stuff going on. Um, which makes it all the more better. It's kind of like a Radley Metzger flick in that respect. It's at least it's got a storyline. I wouldn't say a plot per se, but it's got some kind of story behind it. So, pretty cool flick. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, highly recommended. Check it out. I think I'm gonna take a nap now and cook some fried chicken rice. Got some pretty decent Thailand jasmine rice and some broccoli slaw. Throw some bacon, croutons, hemp seeds, and hemp seed oil, mushrooms. I got a pretty good combination of broccoli slaw going there. Some vinaigrette and Tabasco. I think I forgot to put Tabasco in my egg flour soup last night, but it gave me diarrhea. I guess I'm not used to eating soup. Been eating the heavier kind of foods lately, but not so much in kind of small portions, I guess. They'll get smaller if I ever get my son back and I cook for both of us. I don't know. We'll see how things turn out with that Chinese lady. If I'm gonna get a bigger place with an actual oven instead of a microwave, or at least a toaster oven. Anyways, enough about my personal life. Sorry to interject that in my movie reviews, but that's the end of my review for reals laters.